I have so many people saying, this book, girl, we can't wait till you dish. You know, I know you hate Diana Ross, and I know this, and I know this. And I said, you know, this book is about Cinderellas. And we lived a real Cinderella story. And the book hopefully will be uplifting when people read it. I hope they will come away being happy, because it's supposed to be happy. I wrote it out of happiness. Unfortunately, I had to talk about a few situations that were not happy. But overall, I think in anyone's life, you have your ups and you have your downs.
I interviewed Diana Ross some time ago, and she talked about that time when she was thrust forward and the rest of the girls in the group were pushed back, almost as background singers. How did that make you feel?
Well, that was definitely the biggest problem within the group. But to be real honest about it, from the very beginning that existed, from the moment that it was decided by Barry that Diane would take over all leads and that Florence and I would no longer sing lead, that problem was there. But, you know, we sort of agreed because we wanted to have a hit record. We wanted to be stars. So whatever made us become stars, we agreed to. So we agreed to, okay, well, if you choose any one of us could sing, you know, but it was Diane, and we were happy for that. I mean, there was no reason for us to be unhappy about that, because she was one of us, and she was great. We loved her voice. It just became very bad after a while when we realized, well, we're not ever going to be able to sing.
What is your relationship today with Diana Ross? Is there a friendship?
I feel that Diane and I both right now are searching for our individuality, because I feel she wants to find out who Diane really is, and I want to find out who Mary really is. And in order to do that, you have to really sort of got to forget the past and go on and search for yourself. I feel that's where we are. Only until we feel comfortable being who we are today, I think at that time we can come back and be friends. But right now, there is really no relationship.
You shared some things that, quite frankly, I think will shatter a lot of people's image.
Who?
Of me, I'll admit it, of Diana Ross.
Oh, you
Throughout
think so?
this book, let's call it, she did not come off as a very nice person. I mean, she was egotistical, she was power hungry, she was constantly causing trouble within the group. She was not exactly a source of great delight for you many times throughout the years of the Supremes.
Shall I wait till you're through? You know, it's amazing how people sort of want me to really dislike Diane or to feel bitter about the way she is, the way she was. I shared that story with everyone because I love her, and I love her in spite of herself, because of herself. I think it's possible to know people, and perhaps you guys have someone in your family that you love, but I mean, boy, you just cannot stand to talk to them on it. You know, it's like, wow, why do they have to act like that? But there still is a love there. And in my book, I show how, yes, Diane was very aggressive, and she was a tomboy. She was the kind of girl that in the Brewster projects, we'd all be playing around, and she'd race with the boys, and she would beat them. I mean, she would beat them, and I'd just stand back, and I'd admire that. I think in our own way, when people become famous, you do admire them, but then when you get a chance to look at them as real people, you say, well, shoot, you know, I don't know if I don't know if I like her, but you do like what they have achieved. And I think because of her way, because of her aggressiveness, that's why she made herself into this huge star.
You mentioned the Brewster Projects in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
You and Diane, I was surprised.
Well, can you call her Diane? Do you know her that well?
No. How many people knew that Diane was called Diane until one interview? How many people knew that? It wasn't Diana. One day
No.
that just came out of the blue sky,
Yeah,
didn't it?
I wrote about that in the book because it was strange for us knowing her as Diane, and then we're in London, I think it was, and we were having this wonderful interview, and the interviewer said something to Diane. She said, well, oh, no, my name is Diana, and so Florence and I looked at each other like, oh, it is? You know? But she kind of threw this on us out in public, so we didn't have enough chance to find out, you know, where this came from. But in my research for the book, and I did a lot of researching, I found that her name was Diana on the birth certificate. And one day, of course, she found this out and said, oh, I don't have to change my name. It's already there, and let me use it. But it was just sort of the way that it was sprung on us that we were very sort of surprised.
I was curious, do you have any contact with Diana Ross at all right now? And did she have any comments on your book?
On the book. To be very, very honest with you, right now, there is not a relationship between Diane and I. There has not been one between the two of us for a long time. And I think that had a lot to do with sort of the things that happened back in 1967 when Florence left and Diane was moving out front to become a star. We really kind of lost our relationship there. I don't think that we lost the love that we feel for each other. I do know that very soon I would like to call her up and say, hey girl, you know, what's going on? Let's talk. Can we talk, you know? And I'm sure that after the two of us get together and decide that we want to really make this relationship work again, it will happen, because I believe once you love someone, you never stop loving them. You might start disliking them, but I think the love is sort of always there.
How much did, maybe it was kind of a two-sided deal here, that you were so successful that Barry was involved in you, but also there was a lot of discontent that came out of that because Barry was also involved with Diana.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of were on the top of a fence there for a little bit.
Well, you know, one day Diane came to the room and she says, I'm going to get him. And so I'm looking around trying to figure out...
He was married at the time, wasn't he?
Was he? Anyway,
Yes, he was married at the time.
I didn't write about that in my book. So when she said she was going to get him, I looked around to see who she was talking about, because, you know, Marvin Gaye is there, you know, and all these handsome guys. I'm thinking, well, maybe it's one of them guys, which is fine with me. But when she said Barry, it's like, why would she want him? You know, this is an older man. And I'm saying, I was very naive. I didn't know he was a boss, and that was the thing to do. But eventually she started dating him, and I, you know, I had to give it to her, you know, because that was pretty good for a young girl to say, I'm going to get him, and she got him. And actually it helped us tremendously. We were very happy she was dating Barry, because now we got what we wanted. You know, if you're there with Martha and the Vandellas and Marvelettes and all these other groups, and it depends on who is in Barry's favor, whoever gets the record released, and you say that one girl is dating him, we got our records released. And so in the beginning, it was to our favor.
From the beginning of the show, you stated that you love Diana, and I wanted to know, how do you think, you know, as far as the book is going, how do you think Diana going to perceive this book, what's going to come out of it?
I would want her to really know that I love her very much, and that the same way that when she wanted to go out on her solo career, and it took about 2 or 3 years while she was still with the Supremes, I was there and I was supporting her, and I didn't really try to stop her from doing that on the Supremes' time. As a friend, I recognized, after I was hurt a little bit and sad that we had to break up, I recognized that she had to do what she had to do for herself. I was there for her. I would hope that in her reading my book, that she will feel the same way, that this is something I've written about us. I did not make it up. This is the story of what we were doing at the time. I just wrote down everything that happened. And I hope that she will understand that I, too, you know, must continue my life. And I was a Supreme, and I have every right to write the story. And I tried my best not to write it in a bitter manner, so that it could just be the story that happened. And if she's embarrassed about her life, then maybe that's her situation. But I love her regardless of things that are in the book.
Go ahead.
Miss Wilson, when you
Yes.
did Motown with Diana Ross, was there any tension between the two of you on stage?
When?
Motown.
Um,
Motown 25.
the Motown reunion. To be quite frank with you, in the beginning, no. It was very, we had not spoken to each other. We were not really sort of prepared for this big reunion. But in my heart, there wasn't, and as far as I knew in hers, there wasn't. But I think Motown put us together for that Motown 25th. I don't think the two of us were really prepared for the bigness of it and what it would really mean to us. Being there on that stage, I think maybe something happened with us where it dawned on us, you know, we were not ready to be back together, and so we didn't really react in a friendly manner. So it's very difficult to say. There was no outwardly tension. There wasn't even, I think, anything in our minds or our hearts, but it's just, maybe it wasn't right. It wasn't the right time.
Mary, when you first realized about 1965 or so that everything was being geared toward Diane, what was the feeling between you and Florence? Did you feel like leaving then, maybe?
Well, I didn't really realize that everything was being geared towards Diane that early. I realized that, yes, she was becoming out front and that she was a vocal point. What it did to Florence and myself, I would say, is we sort of felt like we were being suffocated. Our talents weren't really being used. But because we were getting so many other goodies, we sort of fed on all those emotions, and I think it really wasn't a very healthy thing to do. But by 1967, that really kind of destroyed myself and Florence as well.
By 1967,
Yes.
how did all that come about? Was it a relationship, a personal relationship between Berry Gordy and she that started this?
Oh, no. No, I think that personal relationship was secondary to the career and eventually where Diane and Berry went in their lives. I think basically it was because Diane is a very talented woman, and he just saw that talent was something to be used towards getting to the goals that they eventually made it to.
Diana Ross, a nice person?
I think she's a nice person. I think that her idea of ambition and becoming a star might be a little different than what a lot of us think it should be. But I think she is a nice person, yes. I mean, I couldn't love her if she was not a nice person.
Does Miss Ross call you ever?
Miss Ross? You mean Diane?
Yeah.
Miss Diane?
I have to call her Miss Ross, because I've kissed her.
Well, you don't have to worry. I won't kiss you.
I don't ever have to kiss again.
Not on the first date.
Oh, check that out. See, you're an old-fashioned woman.
Well, sort of. I get newfangled, too, if I want to.
You saw the show when Miss Ross kissed me, right?
Oh, yeah, I thought it was great.
I ain't been right since.
I know. I see you wiggling all the time. But, you know, you asked me if we speak. I really want to clear this up, because, first of all, we're not friends today because she's gone her way and I've gone mine. But, you know, I think people want us to be friends. And in my heart, I will always love Diane and Flo because, you know, it's like we shared so much. We made so many dreams come true. We accomplished so much, you know, that I don't think I could ever hate anyone that I did some things like that with. So I feel like in my heart, there's a big spot for Diane always. And that we're grown up now and we're different. We all know we have friends that go different ways or relatives. You know, it's okay with me. And I look at life like this. There's some ups and there's downs, there's joy, there's anger. But just because you have a few downs, you know, it doesn't make your life horrible. Yeah. So, you know, I think it's just great. And I still love her. And we'll be fine someday.
Yeah. That's a good positive attitude.
Behind the love fest of her recent VH1 concert runs the deep rift that turned one of the most memorable musical groups in history into a supreme feud. For when Miss Ross strode into a New York press conference recently to announce the nostalgia event of the summer, she was flanked by two Supremes she'd never sung with before.
I would have been honored to be on the stage with all of the Supremes.
And the dream of a real reunion of the original Supremes had been stopped in the name of ego.
I think where the breakdown came was with Mary and negotiating with the promoters.
What if you two were sitting down at a table
That's the
here?
way the tour should have been put together. Diane and I should have been there together, said, I'm ready to do this, you're ready to do it, let's do it.
Why didn't it happen that way?
She did not want to talk first. She wanted to do the business first.
The numbers that have been bandied about the reunion are these: $12 to $15 million for Diane.
How about 15 to 20 million?
15 to 20 million.
Mm-hmm.
Of which you were supposed to get what?
2 million, and then maybe 3.
That's not enough?
It's not enough? What do you mean enough? I don't think enough is a word. I think fair would be more of the better word. Or deserving. I think it's about what my significance in the group is as a founding member. I've been ready for it all my life. I never wanted Diane to leave.
But if that's the case, then it shouldn't be about money at all, should it? I mean, if you just want to get back together.
Well, but I'm not stupid anymore. And I'm not naive anymore.
Right.
For once in my life, I'm going to think about me. It's not even about the money. It's about how degrading. How degrading. When I met Florence and Diane, yeah, I felt the other side of me. I felt that they were me and I was them.
Really?
Yeah.
But the real damage would not be done to her pocketbook, but to her heart. At the height of the group's popularity, Berry Gordy, who declined our requests to be interviewed, began a long affair with Diana. And suddenly the diva in waiting was being presented as first among equals.
She really wasn't the spokesperson. Okay, we all could talk. But we were taught at home never to air your laundry in public. So we started becoming really, really famous. We'd get on these shows, and all of a sudden, people would stop talking to Florence and I, and they would direct all the questions to Diane.
Why?
Well, I mean, I finally found out that they were told.
The Motown machine was doing a makeover, transforming a girl group into a single star with backup singers.
They were doing a great job of elevating Diane, yes, at the expense of the Supremes, or using the Supremes, which was me. Yeah. Everyone was afraid to offer Florence and I any songs. You gave all the songs to Diane, period.
I see. And all the attention fed the fire for a young diva in the making. Very soon, Miss Ross would be ready for her close-up.
There is a certain thing about Diane that has always been the way she is, period, since I knew her at the age of 13. And that would be, she wants everything herself and doesn't want to share.
Yeah.
So all these things were festering inside. We never went to Diane and said, we want to sing some of these songs, give us some, at least the B-side of a record or more songs on the album. We never expressed that. And so that was what was eating into the interior of the group.
Are we ever going to see a Supremes reunion?
Are we? Ask
the
Diane.
public.
Ask Diane.
It's all up. Is it all up to her?
It's all up to her. If she decides that she would want to do that, we'll do it.
So it was about. I mean, the last.
It was about they didn't want to pay me.
They didn't want to pay you, and it was also there was some other things too.
No,
it was all about the money.
It was all about the money. They didn't want to pay me. So I mean,
because
how can you do that?
the group that did go out.
Well, it wasn't a group. It was Diane and 2 singers.
And it failed miserably.
Yeah, it was Diane and 2 singers.
And it didn't work.
Well, that wasn't a reunion. I mean, that could work if she was going on doing her own tour and hired 2 singers and wanted to say, I'm going to do a Supreme type show. That would work. I mean, she has every right to do that. But if you say reunion, then you got to have the people who were part of the history, who made the history. People, yes, always ask if we will ever reunite. But that's very difficult because, Florence passed away. And unfortunately, Cindy is having a few illness problems. And I think Diane is into her own, stardom. She is a diva, a superstar. So sometimes it's hard to go back. And people have no reason to go back.
Let me ask you this real quick. Okay, now you know Diana's been in town. Are you guys going to get together?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I was so thrilled to find out that we're here at the same time in different places, obviously. So I don't know. You know, we'll see. I hope so.
You know we want to see that.
Well, I don't know about you guys seeing it.
We want to see that.
I don't know about that.
That's going to be some good singing.
But I would love to see her.
Yeah.
Because I know she is in town.
Yes.
Yeah.